Hello and welcome, I'm SimUK, and it is my goal to provide to you the most honest, fact-based critical reviews on YouTube. If you find this review helpful, then please hit that like button, subscribe, and help to support the channel by donating via the links below. Thank you so much, and enjoy the review. I think few people would argue with the fact that PUBG is still considered to be the primary leading force in realistic Battle Royale games. And off the back of it, we've had many Battle Royale copycat games that have tried to cash in. Cue Jolly Roger Game and Zodiac Interactive, who want to transport us back to the 16th or 17th century with a Battle Royale experience that includes violent, close-quarter combat with katanas, flintlocks, rapiers, and broadswords. This is like PUBG, but with cold steel and face-to-face combat instead. I was sent a review copy by the developers, and as of the 16th of June 2020, the demo version of the game, which very well might be what I am actually playing, was made available to everyone, so you will also be able to try this game out for yourself if you find this review interesting and you want to learn more. The quick review is this. Right now the game is playable, but it's far from polished. That being said, there is something really positive about this game. The concept is intriguing and the potential is huge, but right now it is pre-release. It's probably in alpha or beta, and it's a mixed bag full of colossal positives, but counterbalanced with loads of unfinished negatives. So as you might expect, this is a game where 100 players battle it out on, at the moment, just a single map, in either duo or 4-player squads. I'm pretty sure single player is going to be coming, but it seems not to be implemented just yet. Irrespective of the game mode that you choose, only one may survive. This is a battle to the death. Each match starts on a small sailing vessel, and you will head towards land in order to discover weapons, riches, and more loot. Opponents will obviously try and kill you, and what appears to be AI town defenders will also attack you. Perhaps they're just bots added in to flesh out the number of players before release. Personally, I quite like the idea of having AI townsfolk who try and stop you from stealing their stuff, but I suspect they are just bots. Either way, they seem to be able to attack you through walls and fire arrows from anywhere and hit you, which is quite frustrating at the best of times. One of the loot items that you can discover as you go around are these scrolls. Now the scrolls are meant to direct you towards these really powerful, basically like major super loot boxes where you get really good quality items that glow and ebb and just make you more powerful. So what I do know is that this close quarters combat melee abilities are based on the equipment that you have. So basically as you go around looting, it is the stuff that you find which will dictate the moves and special abilities that your character has. I can't tell you what each of the moves are, as I simply don't know. There's a whole array of different weapons and combat units that you can apply to. You could be a samurai, a ninja, a western conqueror. There are absolutely loads to choose from. And the game is basically controlled by a tsunami. When the tsunami starts in the game, it basically means that the water levels are rising constantly and closing in on you, making the gameplay area much smaller, much like the blue fog does on PUBG. And across the map you can encounter forests, mountainous ridges, arid deserts, volcanoes, and even lightning storms, any of which can kill you, although I've fallen from some pretty considerable distances and have yet to die from the impact. You traverse the map by using horses, gliders, sailing boats, and of course, if you choose, on foot. Right now the run mechanic seems slightly flawed to me, but I'll discuss that a little bit later. And you also have the ability to use a grappling hook. Now this is something that you get by default, and it allows you to climb, evade and move at quite some considerable speed. Although it seems when you're being attacked that the action to throw the grappling hook takes too long to initiate, and there's no way of using it to actually evade an attacker. In fact, quite often there is no way to evade an attacker at all, because you're being hit so often, so many times, that you cannot actually swap weapons or dash out of the way or dive or run or use the grappling hook. You just kind of get stuck, and you just feel like it's a very clunky situation that you cannot get out of.
Yeah, it feels super clunky sometimes. Ah, another one.
The combat in game seems pretty basic right now. Block is right mouse click, you press and hold it down, and you can counter a block by using a kick, which is the middle mouse click button. Although many times my block has just been completely ineffective. Even though I'm holding a block up, I'm still taking hits. I don't exactly know why. Maybe I'm using the wrong type of weapon, or I'm not holding the angle at the right distance. Nothing is really explained, so I don't know for sure. The attack button is the left click on the mouse button, and combos require you to click this multiple times and press and hold it down in order to power it up for a mega strike. I'm totally making these names up, by the way. I don't know what the official names are. Ranged weapons include bow and arrow, crossbow, pistols and rifles, plus a combination of like multifaceted combo weapon systems that fire multiple shots in a single bound. It's obviously they take longer to reload, so there's like pros and cons for whichever one you use. I don't think there's any bullet drop. I certainly haven't noticed any, and sometimes when I tried to use the bow and arrow it just refused to fire. Not entirely sure why that was either. If you take damage, you can drink these health potions, which you can find scattered around whilst you're looting, and if your armour is damaged at any point, then you'll need to find replacement armour. Depending on what armour you find, it may very well alter your special abilities too. All weapons, armour and attachments come in 3 flavours. You've got white, which is 1 star, blue, which is 2 stars, and purple, which is 3 stars. 3 stars being the best and most powerful upgrade option available, like level 3 weapons. You also have things like bags, which can be level 1, 2 or 3, and obviously the higher up the level, it allows you to carry more stuff, like ammo for the rifle or healing potions and stuff like that. You also have attachments for each of the weapons that you use, but at the moment it's so overwhelming and confusing I couldn't really make head nor tail of anything that was going on at all. There is some information which pops up each time you come to an item, but there's so much information to read there, and you're under a lot of pressure to get to certain areas on the map, so it's kind of a rushed thing, and because you're not playing on your own, you're trying to accommodate your teammate. Sometimes I was playing with people like me who had just started and knew absolutely nothing, and other times I was playing with people who had obviously played quite a bit, got themselves some very nice loot, which means that they won a few missions and stuff. One of the guys was actually kind enough to drop me some stuff when we were playing as a squad, so I started off with a shield and a sword, something which had never happened prior to that. Normally I was on my own up against people with full kit way before I'd even made it to the first building. So yeah, it's an interesting situation, the way that unlike PUBG where you drop in, everybody drops in with absolutely nothing, in this game it seems that if you've won a few missions you can start off fully equipped. But there are, arguably, lots of areas for you to join in the map. You can, unlike PUBG where you jump from anywhere, here you will descend from an ocean vessel onto smaller vessels, and you can sail those to anywhere you like, and from there on you should be fine. So the maps are quite large, I have to say, so there's plenty of space for everybody to land somewhere where they're not necessarily in conflict with other people. Graphically, this game reminds me a lot of PUBG, especially in the early days. It's almost as though it's a mod for the very early PUBG. They are really quite similar in some ways. Now, the customization in this game is actually pretty well accomplished already. I don't think it's quite at the point where it's finished, but it certainly must have been high up on their list of priorities when the initial planning for this game started. You can adjust the facial features of your character to a pretty high level of detail. For example, the nose adjustments have some 6 or 7 adjustment sliders, and you even have eyelash colour options, probably intended more for the ladies than the chaps, but, you know, who knows. I think you can use your loot in order to buy outfits, weapons, and more further customizations for your character, but like I say, it's locked down pretty heavily during the demo, so pretty soon they're going to wipe it and release a new version, or perhaps an early access version or something. So I expect there's going to be a lot more outfits and weapons and options for customization soon. There seems to be an awful lot of customization and purchase options included in the game too. I've already read that in the demo mode, which is basically what I'm playing at the moment, there's a lot of restrictions here to what can be bought and what can be purchased. So that's going to expand considerably, and I'm sure there's going to be real money purchases available for stuff if you want to get into that. Although to utilise the options, you will need to win a match and return with your winnings. It seems to me, based on experiences, because honestly this game is not that intuitive, but it seems that if you die, all of your collected items will die with you. Now, I'm not 100% on that, because I seem to think, depending on how well I've done or how long I've lasted, I do earn some rewards, but it's not really clear what they were earned for, why, how much, when. But that seems to be the general consensus, is that depending on how well you do, you will earn a certain level, a certain rank, and a certain bit of money, and then that money, aka doubloons or XP points, can be spent to buy equipment, which you can then start the next round with, I think. It's quite a confusing game. I like the premise of it, I just don't fully understand it yet. Certainly, this game has elements of realism in it. It's interwoven, though, with poorly implemented physics. The physics across the board here are definitely a work in progress. They certainly do not feel complete. Issues like these lead me to believe that this game should definitely consider releasing in early access, perhaps with as much as a 50% reduced price tag. I fear that if they release fully in a state anything like this, then they're going to get a lot of negativity, and that might well scupper what could otherwise be a really epic game. Don't pay too much attention to the fact that there are a lot of issues in this game, because underneath all the issues in this game, there's a really good game to be had. I really hope it fully realises its ambition. It's already some 20-30 gigs in size. This is not messing around. They are very serious about this game, and the potential it has is, I think, evident for all to see. So, like the physics, there are a lot of gaps in the audio, and what exists is also pretty limited, to be fair. Again, this just feels incomplete and unfinished, which of course it is, being in such early access. But what concerns me is that the Steam page says releasing soon, and there's no mention of early access at all. I don't know when they're releasing, so soon might be this year, the end of this year, beginning of next year. I don't know. But it does worry me just a little bit that they might be considering releasing it in the state it's in right now. I urge you to try the demo and see for yourself, but I think what the demo will show you is that this is not a finished game, but it certainly is a game with huge potential, and it could be something quite interesting if they fix all the issues. So in the first match that I played, I was so completely confused, I was overwhelmed and mostly frustrated that I quit out of the game and gave up immediately. Thankfully, a little later, I tried again, and by taking my time and piecing together the clues, I kind of started to get into it. Now, as the game currently is, there is only so into it that you can get because of the issues, etc. But this game definitely does have real potential, and I actually enjoyed the good bits of this game immensely. The potential for deep immersion exists. It's just a little rough around the edges right now. Further concerns are around the controls, which are clunky, unresponsive, and a little odd. Again, they're clearly a work in progress, as the majority of menu options are still completely missing, so there's no key binding or anything like that. What confuses me is that they've got things like dodge or dash, which is the shift button, and the run button is also the shift button, but you have to press and hold it. So in order to run, you must first dash or dodge before you can run, and that kind of doesn't make any sense, because when you're being attacked, if you try and dash out the way and you get hit, you then can't run, which means you have to dash again, and you just kind of get stuck in this loop of being hit round the head by a samurai sword with no way of escaping. It's a problem, because if you haven't got your sword out and your blocking, your defending isn't working for whatever reason, you're done for. There is nothing you can do. There is no way you can counter what they're doing. Nothing seems to work. And actions and animation seem to be delayed. So when you press attack, it doesn't attack. So you press it again, and then you try and do a double attack. It's clunky. It's definitely a work in progress. So I've got no idea what the price for this game is going to be. I can't even speculate. I think maybe it's going to be similar to that of PUBG, but in its current state, I'm not sure that's going to go down particularly well. I also have no idea when this game is going to be ready for release, or in what state it will be when it does. There's too much... It's quite an ambiguous review, this, which is why I say it's an early access preview review type thing. I don't know how this game is going to be received by the community. All I'm really doing is highlighting to you the potential that this game has. I'm not recommending that you do buy it. I'm not recommending that you don't buy it. I'm just saying, hey, guys, look, here's a game similar to PUBG in the 16th, 17th century. Maybe it's of interest to you. These are the pros and cons that I've seen as I've played. Maybe you're interested. Maybe you're not. And either way, it's fine. But right now, the game is playable, but far from ready for release, I think, personally. It's not intuitive enough, the controls are clunky, and there's no way to customize them to suit your needs as a player. There are too many menu functions which are completely missing. The animations are clunky and unresponsive much of the time. But, despite all of this negativity, Run the Lost Islands is a fantastic concept that looks like it could, given enough time and support, evolve into one heck of a game. I really like the concept. I really like the foundations that appear to be in place here. And I hope this game continues to get the level of support that games like PUBG have received. Is it going to maybe sway PUBG players away from PUBG? I find that highly unlikely. I think this is a more bespoke kind of gameplay experience. You need to be into feudalism and hand-to-hand, steel-upon-steel combat in order to find this particularly exciting. But I do. I love the whole fact that you can jump on a horse and go horseback riding, jump on a boat and sail across to another island, even find a sail and fly across, which is something I haven't personally managed to do, but I did see someone doing it, and then I tried to shoot them out of the sky, which is very hard. I mean, there is some kind of bullet drop animation. Well, not bullet drop so much as delayed shot physics. I don't really know. I don't think the shot physics are particularly realistic. This game definitely needs a lot of work, but it also has a lot of potential. What an awful review this has been. Hopefully, I've at least drawn your attention to the game, and just keep your eye on it. Put it in your wish list, and over time, maybe it will evolve into something way, way more complete. And then you can go, oh, yes, I remember this game. Sim UK did a review on it ages ago, and I think I might take a look. Hopefully that's the case. Anyway, hopefully this review has been helpful for you, and if it has, please hit the like button, subscribe. Don't be scared to donate to me. I'm only asking you for £1 a year. That is enough to ensure that I can bring you more high-quality reviews just like this one. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Take care of yourselves till next time. Goodbye.